Howdy.
Hey, howdy, brother. It's good to be back
Howdy,
with you.
bro.
Hey, thanks for
Good to be
having me
back,
on. It's a real pleasure. I just wanted to talk about that new Brad Pitt movie.
I've been really into Shia LaBeouf lately.
Oh.
That's how he talks.
Like as a normal person.
Did you see the
No, I didn't
Hot
see it.
Ones
No,
with
I
him?
didn't. No, I know you're talking about.
You should watch the Hot Ones with him. It's really funny.
Okay.
He's just like kind of obviously high in it, but he's just so funny. And the way he talks, he like sharkle. That's how he says like circle. He says sharkle. Just sharkle.
Yeah, if you look back
Yeah.
at like the Transformers movies, he kind of talks like that actually.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a hick.
Anyways, what movie did you see?
Well, I saw Ad Astra, right?
The world awaits our discovery, my son.
Ad Astra.
Starring Brad Pitt, written and directed by James Gray. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Jimmy Gray.
What else did he do?
Written and directed by Jimmy
Why does
Gray.
that sound so familiar?
He did The Lost World of Z, I think is what it's called.
Oh, Lost City of Z.
Lost City.
I hear
yeah.
that movie's really underrated.
I heard it's good.
Okay.
And he did a couple Walking Phoenix movies that I heard are good.
Okay.
So I heard he's done some good movies. So, yeah, what'd you think of Ad Astra?
Oh, this movie is like not an audience movie at all. Like I knew it was gonna be more of a drama, but I saw this movie and my theater was packed. My theater was sold out. And it was the worst time to have that kind of audience because everyone in the audience, there was this very clear vibe that they were ready for like a sci-fi adventure movie. Everyone had popcorn, everyone had drinks. There were kids, there were like young teenagers watching it.
Yeah,
there were
it's a very
older
dramatic
couples there, like stoked to see Brad Pitt. And then the movie started, and it's just so quiet the whole time. The whole movie is so slow and so quiet. It was like the most I could
Are
hear.
you gonna tell me if you like the movie
Anytime,
or not?
yeah, I'm getting to it. But like every time someone whispered, I would just like it kind of ruined my experience. So it was like
Yeah.
hard to judge. I was like kind of thinking like, am I liking this or am I just having a really terrible time?
Yeah.
That was what I felt.
It's so weird that people don't have like movie theater etiquette, I guess. It's just like our friend Kevin just stuffing his face with popcorn.
That's fine.
There's like a scene where Brad Pitt's like crying and he's just stuffing his face with popcorn.
I was like,
We're just like looking over him like, bro. Like you go to the movies with us all the time. You
I went
know,
to
like, just
the
don't
movies
do
with
that.
Nathan, and I was like, dude, I wish they sold Takis here. If I was eating Takis and someone was getting pissed, like, yeah, that's really loud. It's like, well,
that's what you're doing.
I was like, well, I paid for this. Like, I'm not gonna not eat it. They sold it up front. You couldn't tell anyone to stop eating the Takis. Well, did you like the movie?
I wanted to ask you first.
It was good. It was like good, but I had a really bad time because of my theater.
Minus just try to think of it without the
I didn't feel anything.
audience.
I was like really like I hate to do this because I love dramas and I love slow-paced movies. Like
And I love space.
my favorite movies are like super long. And yeah, I like space. But I was like not enjoying myself. I didn't feel any emotion. I was like the whole movie went by and I was just kind of like not feeling anything. Like I didn't feel anything at all. Even during the action sequences, all I kind of did was go, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, he's using there's no sound in space. So whenever something's happening, it's like really cool when you're like looking in the background and people are just flying off. And it's like very like, I don't know, like it was like really well done.
Yeah.
But also just so boring and quiet, like not in a good way. So I mean, there's little things that were like bothering me, but I think this movie was good, but I didn't like it. I didn't like enjoy it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I thought this movie sucked.
Oh,
I thought this was
damn.
I thought this was a bad movie.
No way.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna like it.
No.
Why?
So, in the end, my full conclusion of the whole thing is this movie tried to be the next Interstellar and it just wasn't.
It messed up everything that Interstellar got right. And I'll get into that in a minute.
So...
Or even Gravity.
It's just... Yes, the movie's so boring.
Yeah.
It's so boring. So many things happen in the movie that are just like... kind of ridiculous. Like, for instance, like when they go to the moon, everyone I saw the movie with kind of complained afterwards about like how you see Subway and all this shit, which product placement is kind of annoying, but I kind of liked it because I was like, oh, that's like how it would be.
Yeah, that is how it would be, and people need to accept that. Product placement is a little more like in like a character using Bing instead of Google. Like no one actually uses Bing. Don't like have a character use Bing on that's product placement. Or like obviously using only Sony products. But a Subway being on a moon where it's a city a tourist spot is like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
People need to get over that. I don't know. That's dumb. That's a dumb complaint.
But it's just, yeah, like you said, there's just don't feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. Like, basically what the story is, Brad Pitt is a spaceman, and his father was also a spaceman, and he went on this journey called the Lemur Project.
Lemur.
No, Lima. Is it called the Lima Project?
Lima, Lima.
Is it project?
Yes.
Okay, the Lima Project, where basically he goes out into the solar system and super far out with him and a crew of people to find intelligent life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they like lost connection with them. They assumed they died or something happened. And then how much later?
It's like 16.
I assume
it's like 16 years.
Well, they said he was 16 when he left.
Oh, no. I thought they said that they lost connection with them like
16
years ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because
they lost connection with him like 16 years ago. And finally something came up and they're like, oh, we think your father's still alive. And so he's like, oh, okay. So they send him to go find his father.
Just thought of something to go on.
And essentially that's the plot of the movie. And there's just like so many things that just don't make sense. For instance, like the space pirates, I thought that was sick, but it just ends.
Yeah.
And they don't like say like, oh, those are people trying to do this. They don't even say what they were trying to do, did they?
No, they didn't. It seemed like they almost.
I was like, oh, he's going on like this top secret mission, and obviously there's someone else that doesn't want him to go on that mission.
Exactly.
But they didn't clarify that there's just pirates that.
They were trying hard because they even addressed later that like those people were like really trying to get you, and they were trying to say like this is a top secret mission. No one should have known that we're here. And yet, there's these pirates that are like hunt them down, and I was like, oh, they probably know something. There's probably something else
I was
on.
like, oh, there's this whole other, this whole other thing that's about to go down. Like,
no,
there's this whole other like there's like villains that they have to like face, you know?
Yeah, after thinking
like
about
this other country, like terrorists or something.
After thinking about it, it's the Rogue One plot because it's you have a personal connection with this person we're trying to get in touch, and so we need you with us to do this thing so we can get in touch with them. That's it, and then you're on.
Yeah.
But Rogue One at least was like they get to that point pretty fast, and then there's still the rest of the movie, and it's Star Wars, so it's whatever. Yeah. But this is point A to point B, but the whole point, like the whole journey, you're right, is just ridiculous obstacles. Like the action was like, oh, there's a Mayday mission. There's someone sending out a Mayday, and all it ended up being was like these monkeys got loose and started killing everyone.
Yeah.
And
so
it was like,
here's the thing with that. So, well, first off, I'll say, did you hear or read anything that James Gray, the writer-director, said that this movie is a mix of 2001 and Apocalypse Now?
I got the 2001 because there's lots of, and this is again why I was like, thought the movie was good, because there is a lot, I think there are deeper meanings to it, and there is a lot of like, there's a ton of God stuff in it. People are talking about God a lot. People are talking about heaven, and people are talking about like, you know, intelligent life and evolution. That was like, I was immediately getting like, oh, there's like some kind of philosophical thing here.
But
like,
doesn't it kind of...
It just kind of leads nowhere.
It kind of blows all that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just missing something and I'm an idiot because critics seem to like this movie.
That's what I'm so good. So first I was like, this seems like the movie that will mistake people to believe that it's a smart movie.
Like Mother. Like everyone thinks Mother
Like
is
Mother,
really smart.
yeah.
But it's like, no,
I
it's
hate
really
Mother.
dumber.
I hate Mother.
It
It's my
tricks
least favorite
people.
movie
It
ever.
tricks people and like thinking it's really good.
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought.
But critics understand that.
Which means that people who are smart about movies, not trying to sound pretentious, but like people who are smart about movies
We're pretentious.
would be like, oh, these aren't good movies.
Yeah, like it's a movie,
Ad Astra.
Yeah.
Ad Astra is not a good movie. But then you talk to like a general audience who just likes to go to the movies, like for instance, my friend Kevin would be like, oh,
Yeah,
that was sick. Like that was so.
And that's
like,
fine.
in the back of their head, they're like, this is so smart.
That's
fine.
As long
It's
as
fine for you
they're
to like the
enjoying
movie,
it, they're enjoying
but
it.
that's
fine.
the kind of movie that it was to me.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, I see all these like film people
Like
and
critics,
like
like
smart
really
film
liked
people
it.
that and critics that are like, it's so good. And like straight up on my way home from the movie, I got pulled over because I get pulled over every day because my car sucks. I got pulled over on the way home, and the cop's like, oh, like where were you? And we're like, oh, it was me and Cooper. We're like, we're on our way home from the movies. And he's like, oh, what'd you see? We're like, oh, we saw Ad Astra. He's like, oh, really? Like, what'd you think of the movie? And we're like, it sucked. We're like, that movie wasn't good. And he's like, oh, I heard. He's like, I was hearing on the radio that it was so good, and like everyone was like praising it. And we're just like, really? Yeah.
I can't imagine. I didn't think my audience was liking it at all because everyone was so quiet, and I just heard everyone munching on popcorn and whispering.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and people clapped. And I guess I don't know if that's just proper etiquette or something.
No.
But I was like, what the hell? What did people like? There was no enjoyment of that movie.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's what critics liked about it, is that like, oh, it's supposed to be dry and boring. That means it's good.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the whole movie is supposed to be about him and his father, and then he finally gets to his father, and it's just so, I don't care. And then he dies, and I'm like,
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, sorry.
But who cares? This movie sucks.
Yeah. Well, what did the
You
writer
like this
director
movie
say?
more than me, obviously.
Yeah, I like it more than you, but I think it was just
So
because I
writer-director said
I was trying to look on the bright side, but
about that it's a mix of Apocalypse Now and 2001. So when I first read that before the movie came out, I was like, all right, this guy's pretentious. Like, don't compare your movie to two of the greatest movies ever made, you know?
you can say it was inspired by.
You can say inspired by, yeah. So then I saw the movie and I was like a quarter into the movie, I was like, oh, this is Apocalypse Now. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's a very similar story. And that's when I was just like, oh, okay, I guess it's not really pretentious because that's actually what it is.
Is it like a book? Is it based on a book? The book
Ad
must
Astra?
suck.
Ad Astra?
Yeah. What is this based
I
on?
don't think so. I think it's just written. He just wrote it.
There's no way that this is an original movie. No studio would ever pick that up. Why would anyone? Well, dude.
But James Gray has made other movies.
Yeah, I
Other
know,
big
but like,
movies. Anyways,
I
let me
guess you're
finish
right. I
what
don't
I'm
know. It's
saying.
not like.
So the way it's like Apocalypse Now is about a guy going on a secret mission to find a rogue guy.
I know what the story is. Yeah.
I'm explaining it to the audience, okay? I'm just explaining it, alright?
All right, go on.
To find a guy and to basically kill him, right?
Yeah.
So in this movie, that's pretty much the premise. He wants to bring his dad back, but they do say in the movie, like, destroy him if you have to, right? And there's literally, even he's on this top secret mission with this other crew, like he is in Apocalypse Now, and he can't tell them, and then they're like, oh, well, there's a distress call over here. When was the last time you saw Apocalypse Now?
A long time ago.
You probably don't remember. But do you remember the scene where there's like that boat and they're like, oh, we need to check this boat.
Yeah,
check their supplies or whatever, and that's when they like find the dog. They, like,
Yeah,
kill
I
all
remember that
those
scene.
people.
Okay.
What's up, Chief? junk boat, Captain. We're gonna take a routine check.
Well, let's forget routine now and let him go.
These boats are running supplies in this delta, Captain. I'm gonna take a look.
Chief, my mission's got priority here. Hell, you wouldn't even be in this part of the river if it wasn't for me.
Until we reach your destination, Captain, you're just on for the ride.
So that's basically, there's the same exact scene in there. He's like, no, we're not stopping. Like, we know we're on the mission. And they're like, no, we're going to stop. So they stop, they go in there, and there's the monkeys. And this is where, you know how it's kind of like a slight jump scare? And like, there's like, you see the body, and the body's just like shaking.
Yeah, so you think
And
he's
you're
like,
just like, oh, like, what's
freaking out.
happening?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that monkey comes across, and it's just like a zombie space monkey.
My eyes like kind of, I was like, oh, that's really spooky looking. And then I see the monkey and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And right when I saw the monkey, my heart dropped, and I just went, oh, like, this is gonna be a different movie. Like, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be weird. And then because the movie ended up just sucking, I was just like, I wish the rest of the movie was just him like fighting space monkeys and like some insane virus in space.
It was riding the
that
line
would have
of
been
like,
so fun.
It would
that would
be-
have been so much better
yeah.
than this boring ass movie.
it was like riding the line of like having ridiculous, interesting, and entertaining things in it that were like, oh wow, this is not like a really grounded space movie.
Exactly,
Kinda
that's what-
like how Interstellar is
like
way
Interstellar
more.
is a very grounded
And
movie. There's
Gravity,
nothing like
even Gravity, even is just like it's about the real horrors of being in space, and like
Yeah.
I don't know. In The Martian, even is trying to be all scientific and smart. This was like riding the line of just like being a very dry, boring drama with really ridiculous sci-fi space stuff.
like
that it was
CGI space monkeys.
Yeah, CGI space monkeys and space pirates that affect the plot in no way, shape, or form. That scene, the monkey scene exists to where that guy who was supposed to go out, like he dies and he's the captain of the ship. So the other guy's to be the captain, and there's this whole dynamic between Brad Pitt and this one captain guy, and the captain guy's like not focusing, and he's nervous to be flying. He's like scared. But then it's like it's like an interesting character dynamic, and there's something there that was like causing a conflict. But then it's like, oh, they're not going to show up ever again. But then when it's revealed, like, oh, he's going back with that crew, but he has to sneak on, and he accidentally kills the entire crew.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, so that
What?
was pointless. Like, why did
Well,
why did I watch their relation?
When he
Could've been a
goes in
different crew.
and like accidentally kills the entire crew, I was like, okay, they're gonna do something with like, oh, he's like just like his dad. Because remember, his dad killed his entire crew.
And he doesn't
because
want to
they
be like
wanted
his
to
dad.
leave.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
he
what Brad
doesn't
Pitt
want to be
said.
like his dad. So I was like, oh, like they're gonna do something with this, and they just didn't.
Yeah, and wait, he does the same mission that the crew was gonna do. He just goes in and plants the bomb. That's it. What did he need
It's
to be
not
there
a
for?
good movie, and I'm really bummed that everybody loves it so much. How about all these big name actors that are in this movie for like 5 minutes each?
Oh yeah, like the guy who plays like President Snow from the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
By the way,
Donald Sutherland, that dude is dying.
That guy is
was
like
so
that guy
old.
was just like
Donald Sutherland is
the
so
whole time he's
old.
on screen. It's just like,
It's like, whoa, you're going to space.
I'm coming with you. I knew your dad.
Also, Tommy Lee Jones looks like Emperor Palpatine, bro.
Tommy Lee Jones is
That
dying.
fool looks like Palpy.
Shit. That
He looks way
dead.
better. Like when you see him in like the calls or whatever, I was like, oh jeez. And then you
Yeah.
see him in person, and like he has like facial hair, and
Yeah.
it covers up all his wrinkles.
And he's
I
acting
was
like a crazy old man when his Brad Pitt's like reaching up to him. And he's like that. I'm like, dude, that guy's
Because
he has a
because of
year.
that.
Tommy Lee Jones has a year. I'm calling it. It's over.
You think so?
I think so, dude. I looked at him in that movie and I was like, wow, that's an old man.
Why is Donald Sutherland still alive?
I don't know.
That fool's so old.
Did you notice how every character in this movie had no character? They were just man and person.
Yes.
Like Donald Sutherland's Donald Sutherland? I don't know his name actually. Like Donald? Is it
Donald Sutherland.
Donald
It's
Sutherland.
you know, Kiefer
Yeah, yeah,
Sutherland's dad.
He the whole time he was on screen I was like, what is that guy? Every time he was like, there was a really long conversation scene with him and Brad Pitt. I didn't pay attention to like the whole thing. Like when that scene ended and I was like, what was that? What did he just say? I wasn't I don't care. And it's so boring. And what is his character? Like, they're like on this space machine. He's just like this old man.
Yeah, no, his character doesn't really.
No one has anything. He's just like even
He's just like, oh, I knew your dad.
Even Brad Pitt just kind of has like, I don't know. Brad Pitt's just like Neil Armstrong from First Man.
Yeah. I was with the idea of him just like not having emotions. And I do like the scene where he leaves the message for his dad.
That's why
he cries, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that's why I think the movie is good, because I was liking all the Brad Pitt stuff, and I like it, the performance was just really good.
Yeah.
And you're right, he's a really damn good actor, and like so. For me, it was like the movie was kind of a drag, and then when he gets to the point where he sends the message to his dad, and you're right, he's crying, and he starts getting really mad. That's what, to me, when the movie like picked up, because I was like, oh, like dude, Brad, like finally, so it was like a high it reminded me of like how in Blade Runner, it's like you see Ryan Gosling just kind of like drown his emotions, and then he just freaks out. And it's like this really high like emotional scene. And that's what it felt like to me. It was like, oh, this is good. I've been like building to this, and then it goes back to being like kind of boring and stupid.
I was trying to find like videos of just like behind the scenes stuff of them just like talking about this story or whatever. It's all about the visuals. Everything.
The visuals are cool.
It's like, oh, so we did this and we got real space sounds and we did this and that or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, that's cool, but like your movie's just not good.
It's just, it's so quiet the whole time, and like
it's just boring.
Oh, you know what it does? I was gonna get into this. Every single space movie or sci-fi movie or anything has a soundtrack that works, like that is like distinct to that, like Annihilation and even Gravity with like its like anxiety-inducing soundtrack, and Interstellar with like literally making you just like feel like the loneliness of space, like in the organs and everything. Yeah. This movie was just like temp music. It was just like, you know what temp music is? Yeah. It's just like, it was just a note held out in a big orchestra, and then a higher note, and then a lower note, and that was the movie.
Think of the music at
exactly all. Because it was like the guy forgot, like, oh yeah, we're making a sci-fi movie, we need to make a sci-fi soundtrack. He just it was just a normal soundtrack to any movie. You just put it in any movie. It was just like the soundtrack was so boring and dry, so it made when they were like just having their like dialogue scenes where they're not like moving around and they just like mumble to each other and they cry, and then all of a sudden like a violin cue would go in, and I was just like that's what made me do.
The last maybe 30 minutes of this movie was just so painful to me.
I think that's
it was just like dragging, and I was just like, I just kind of want this to be over.
When he like actually gets to his dad, I just wanted it to end.
Yeah.
But I think the stuff up till that, I was along for the ride. That's what I mean, is like I didn't like or feel anything during this movie, but I was like interested in it. Like I liked the opening scene when there's like that whole disaster. I thought that was sick.
I liked the opening scene too, but nobody else really liked it.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, oh, like he fell from space and like his heart rate didn't go above whatever, and he fell from space. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but like it was cool.
I mean, he blacked out or something, right? I think they're psychologically tested to such a point, and they like practice that it's like he's like trained to be in that situation to where like he won't die from it or something. I don't know. Well, also, did you notice? This is my biggest gripe with the movie. Well, the soundtrack. That's my big. That to me is what, like, if this movie had a good soundtrack, like a better composer, just straight up was like done by Hans Zimmer or some shit, it would have been 10 times better. I can guarantee you'd be like, oh yeah, that was like really cool, but I didn't really enjoy it that much. Like that's how much a soundtrack can improve a movie. But the climax of the movie, the actual like scene where he's trying to get to the ship and fly away from this nuclear explosion, and then how underwhelming was that?
Yeah.
Did you notice how quiet it was? Because that's actually where the music kicks into an action soundtrack. Did you notice that the soundtrack wasn't the forefront of the scene? and also the explosion just kind of made this little rattling sound because it's space. All you hear is a ship rattling.
Yeah.
It's the worst climax to a movie I've ever seen in my life. Straight up. It wasn't even a climax. It happened, and then the music was all quiet, and even the audience like mumbled about it because the explosion happened. It's this huge, beautiful explosion, and then the music's just kind of like this. It's like kicks into an action subject, and then you just hear it fade away, like really quietly, like you couldn't hear it. The whole movie was loud. Like the whole movie's quiet, but like when loud stuff happens, it's loud. I was in a good theater, but that climax, I was like, whoa, I didn't hear anything. What was that? Like what just happened? I didn't feel anything. I was just like, oh, okay, so he got away. That was really underwhelming. Like the music just fades away, like nothing. I barely heard it. And then the movie ends, and I was like, oh, that was the climax to the movie? That was what the story was building to?
It's almost like...
That's the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's almost like James Gray was told about the entire story of Interstellar, but didn't watch the movie.
Yeah,
because
it's like...
there's a very perfect climax scene in that movie.
Yeah.
There's multiple climax scenes.
Well,
but the docking scene, the music is so loud and
intense,
like,
and
guides the entire scene so much. It's like,
and
it's like, let's just watch. If you're trying to make a space movie, just watch
anything
watch
else.
Anything good.
There's so many space movies out there that work really, really well, and they're tension building. Yeah. Like just the fact that like Gravity is like all done through like the whole Wonder stuff, and it's like constantly building, and you see everything going on in the background while your character's trying to escape, and you also see the consequences because you literally see a main character die within like the first 20 minutes, and it's like. It's almost as if it's like James Gray hasn't seen very many movies.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen his other projects, and that's really, really mean. And I am a dumb 22-year-old man. But, and this guy's a working director who made an original space movie, apparently.
Yeah.
But it really came across, especially in that climactic sequence, I was like, I don't think this guy has like watched any movies that have action in them. Yeah. Like, but the action is actually like everything is well shot. Like everything is pieced together and put together very, very well. Like again, when the space pirates are attacking him, I was like, that was cool. But from a story standpoint, it doesn't work. But just like that climactic sequence, it was like, oh, has he not seen these other movies where they do the thing where the music gets loud and things are tense and it's building tension? Does he not know? Has he not seen this movie? Has he not seen any movies ever?
Yeah.
Your movie's got to be entertaining, man. It's like I also got to care. Can't be a drama if I don't care.
I'm just disappointed in this movie. I wanted it to be good, and I wanted to like it so bad.
See, I didn't care at all. I
did care because I like space. I like space movies.
Yeah, I know you do. And I like space movies too, but I also was like, I saw the trailer for this movie a while ago, and I was like, I'm sure that'll be good, but I don't know, I'm not too excited. And so I had no hype. I never watched another trailer, and then it came out, and I was like, yeah, like not what I expected.
When we went to go see it, I looked at the IMDb rating, and it's like a 7.6.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Perfect Blue is like a 7.6.
But that
that's the greatest movie ever made.
Best movie ever. But it was like a 7. That's like a 7.8.
Oh, okay.
Or 7.9. But Ad Astra was like 7.6, and I like told Ricky, I was like, he's like, bro, are you excited for space? I was like, yeah, but like, this movie's not gonna be that good. And then we saw it, and I was like, I told you. And he's like, yeah, dude.
Did you see like the audience?
It's just like everything I wanted that movie to be, it was not.
Yeah. Did you see like the actual like audience reviews or any scores or anything like that? It's like, the only people who like this movie are critics for some reason. And honestly, I feel like
so many film people. I'm seeing it all over like Instagram. So many people.
I haven't seen
anything. Like, oh, it's so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Who? We can talk after. But
but just so many people, and I'm just like, these are people that like I know have like a smart opinion about movies, and I know are very well educated with movies. Not that we are, because we're not that well educated with movies.
You know what it is?
We think we are.
We do know people that like are into film, but they also like say really stupid stuff. Like when Solo was coming out, a bunch of people that we went to film school with literally said that like the cinematography from Solo like looks like Blade Runner. And they were like, yo, dude, I'm so excited. Like, this looks gorgeous. I don't like, it looks so good.
Speaking
And then we were like,
Runner.
well, the movie came out and it was like the worst cinematography ever. It was like,
Speaking of Blade Runner, this fool saw Blade Runner 2049. You see that cinematography?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hoyt van
only like
Hoytema.
a little bit of
That's
like,
also the other thing. Hoyt van Hoytema is the guy who shot Ad Astra, and he also shot Interstellar. And he shoots most of Christopher Nolan's movies.
well, the cinematography
Like
was
this,
fine.
this guy's really good. Yeah, no, it looks good. But there's so much like lens flare in scenes.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of distracting, and I'm sure that's not his doing. I'm sure that's a director's choice, because I've never really seen it that bad in any of the other movies he's done. Any of the Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah, no way.
So
It's
and
like,
lens
I don't know.
flare- everybody knows lens flares look cool when there's like one or two.
Yeah.
But once there's a bunch, and the opening shot is just one big lens flare.
Oh yeah, and like,
The opening shot is literally a lens flare. That's what the opening
yeah,
shot is.
it's like,
It's trying to be like 2001. Like there's just like this slow shot of like this planet, and it's like painting past the planet, kind of like how
It's trying to
2001
be
has,
like-
all the planets.
it
lined
also
up.
did like a Blade Runner thing where he's like walking with that one lady, and the lights do the thing where it goes to shadow and then back to light.
Yeah, exactly. The
And I was
orange.
like- it was
And
like,
the
well,
orange. Yeah, exactly. That's
that
where I
doesn't
was
make
like,
sense.
this fool just watched Blade Runner 2049.
I actually like the stuff when he's on Mars. I think that's my favorite part of the movie.
Not mine.
Like when he's in like
It's
the
so
comfort when he's
boring.
in like the comfort room and stuff. That was like when I was like thought it was like aesthetic. I was like, that's cool. But also he's
Sure.
not Blade Runner.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
But it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
fool-
someone it's,
that James Gray likes movies.
okay. I don't think he
But I
does.
don't
'Cause
think
I saw
as
his
far as this movie goes, he's not that great of a filmmaker.
Yeah, because everything's just kind of everything about this movie. Even I think why the action was good, and this was like when you shoot action, it's like it's just good coverage. It wasn't telling a story. It was just like even all the dialogue sequences. It was like it never felt special to me. It was just like close up, close up.
Yeah.
There's no like real blocking either. No one's really moving around. Everyone's just like really sad and boring. And yeah, even the action sequences, I know there's like, I mean, if you want to make a good action scene, it's literally just
I like the
get
one.
a ton of coverage and don't
Yeah.
make it shaky cam because it'll look like garbage.
Yeah.
That's it.
The lady on Mars is like, oh, your dad. What did she say? Your dad killed my parents, so you're not going,
Yeah.
right?
And then he just goes anyway and,
And then he
kills
goes
a bunch
and
of
just
people and literally
kills
murders
his
people.
entire crew.
It was like in a very comedic way. And he just like ends up like, okay, I guess I gotta do this now. It's like, what?
There's a lot of like things going on in this movie.
Yeah, like I said, it's like
the whole thing,
it's a
everything
point
with his
A.
dad. There's
It's-
like twists with his dad, and then there's like the whole thing of like everyone on Earth is gonna die because of these rays that are going.
Oh yeah,
being sent out.
the shock things.
Yeah, there's just so much going on, and it's just all.
It's a
just
clear,
leads to
like I said,
shit.
It's a clear. I need to get from here to there to shut this thing down, but you just watch him do it. You just watch him go on this journey. That doesn't. It's a singular. How could this be getting good reviews if a very basic line of making a story is, don't make this. You need to do this. You need conflict, you need to be going, you need climax and build and all that. This was just a linear line of him doing this thing for a very long time.
for
They're
instance,
very
like this
as slow
space monkey
as
scene.
slow as
They're like,
humanly
oh,
possible.
let's put an obstacle in.
Exactly.
But the obstacle
It's-
leads to nothing. Somebody dies, but like it doesn't really affect
Exactly.
anything.
It's just like this very simple journey. Like, I gotta get to this hotel room, and then I gotta go to the moon, so I can ride on a truck to lead to this thing
here's
that
the
will
thing,
launch
you
me
can
to
do
Mars.
That, though. You can, but you could just make it good. For instance, like Fury Road.
Yeah, it's like
Fury Road is point A to point B, back to point A. That's that whole movie, and it's the most fun movie you'll ever see ever.
But this was like as slow as humanly possible. We were getting there, and it didn't feel like any. Well, even in Fury Road, they have the bad guys have an attachment to the characters that are trying to escape. There's a very clear defined conflict. This was pirates that never show up again.
Yep.
Monkeys.
You don't even find out
that
what
have
they
nothing
just
to
go,
do with
"Oh,
anything."
like pirates, and that's it.
Yeah.
Do they even call them pirates? They do, right?
Yeah, just call them pirates.
But that's it. Like,
and then
they don't say, "Oh, it's Russia trying to stop us from doing this," and you know what I'm saying?
You know why I think it probably got interesting on Mars? Because that was when there was a clear conflict defined, because immediately they were like, you're not going, we just like, and he was like, he starts to get pissed. Like he's this guy who he's
that.
completely held back his emotions, and he starts getting pissed that he was used by people he's working for.
Yeah.
And it's leading to the death of his father. That's why I was like, oh wow, this movie's picking up, because now there's a clear there's a bad guy, and there's not just a bad guy, but there's a conflict with the character. And you're right, it's over halfway through the movie. It's late. It's late.
It is.
And then, but even that is he kills the crew and just goes to get his dad anyways. And everything past that, after he kills the crew, is just so boring.
Yeah.
Huh.
Do you like his Captain America shield flying through all the...
That was so... What the hell? You can't do this thing where you're
That's the problem with
trying
the movie.
to do a 2001
said.
can I get a copy? All right, I'm moving the arm now. Yes, radar thing. And then also have him get a shield and
imagine watching 2001.
Those rocks are
and then
going
just seeing
millions of miles an hour.
Shield. Yeah, that fool's dead.
Yeah, no way, dude. No way. He's gone. What the hell?
Yeah, that's like what I said after the movie, and that's what you just said. Is it's like trying to be a grounded space movie, like a realistic take on a space movie, and then you just have weird shit thrown in like that.
Yeah.
Like the space monkey, and it's like, oh, this is an entirely different movie.
Yeah.
And then you have him leaping with the shield, and it's like, oh, I've never seen that in a grounded space movie before. 2001 is the most bizarre movie ever, and it didn't even do that.
Yeah.
Do weird stuff like that.
I also don't understand how he even made it back to his ship. Even someone in the audience goes, does he have a jetpack? You don't see anything.
That's what I was
thinking. You don't
thinking.
see anything coming out of his suit. And
Yeah.
so, is he blowing air? Is he moving himself? What's going on?
Well, he went on that little propeller thing
All
and
right.
jumped off.
I don't know if that would make sense. Because if you're off, if your math is off and you miss,
You're done. Because you can't stop.
Yeah, you can't stop.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that. I actually do when they
Was his dad screaming or something when
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
so
flying off?
I don't know. I don't know if this is an editing mistake, but I don't know if that was his dad or Brad Pitt screaming, because it immediately cuts back to Brad Pitt and he's crying hard. So I was like, okay, I can probably see that Brad Pitt probably screamed in his suit, but
it was
it's funny.
a wide.
It was a wide.
It's
It's
and
so
you just
comedic.
see him in the background.
You just see him in the
flying
and I this is something I'll give James Gray props for, is having the scream fade out as an echo, because the scream was really comedic, but because it kind of faded out, it became not comedic. I was like, oh, okay. But for a second, when you just see him in the distance, you just go, ah! It's the funniest thing. Wow, I want to meet someone that liked this movie and just, I don't know, just tell them they're an idiot.
Do you like it less now that we talked about it?
I do like it less, because I haven't, like I said, I had a weird experience, so I don't know if I liked the movie or if I just was like, oh, that was good. I don't know. You're right. I think it tricks you. And so because I've had time to sit and I actually was able to talk with you about it, and was like, I don't know, how did we like, now I kind of understand, like, yeah, I would never watch this movie again. And that's not a good
I
thing.
was like, should I go see this movie again so I can like understand it even more before me and John review it?
I almost wanted to, because I didn't want to feel like an idiot saying this movie sucked or saying that I didn't have a good time or that it was like boring, man. It was so boring. It wasn't enough explosions. You know, the Darth Vader scene, no, I'll give them that. I didn't want to be that guy. And so I was like, maybe I should go see what all the critics are talking about. But now that makes me sad. I told my friend Jordan to see it because I wanted to hear his opinion. And I'd be really bummed if he said that he liked it. Like, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah.
Alright, do you have anything else to add?
No. Like, just watch like these space movies.
Dude, Alien.
Why have they not
the
made
best movie
This
ever.
is what I said after the movie as well. I was like, why haven't they made like a good horror space movie?
Why is that not
Since,
like top of the list? Like, yo, like Alien work, like that's horrifying. Let's just do that again. I think you know what it is.
Like Alien's a straight like perfect movie.
I think
That's
when
a
they
perfect
try to
movie.
do it, it ends up like those like there was like that found footage movie on the moon.
Yeah,
or like the
Apollo 18.
Yeah, and
That
Cloverfield
movie's
Paradox.
So bad.
I think it's maybe tough with the time the fact that horror movies just suck now.
Well, I haven't seen
dude,
High Life.
Ari Aster.
I heard High Life is really good.
We were complaining in the Midsummer review that we were like, oh, I hear High Life is really good. Yeah.
No, give Robert Eggers a space movie.
Robert Eggers, sure, but
That
also
shit would be
you and I
terrifying.
were talking about like I don't think Ari Aster should write his own movies, and I didn't like that Midsummer was basically the same thing as Hereditary. If Ari Aster did a space movie, that'd be pretty sick. That'd
by
actually be really cool.
someone
Written by someone else, kind of like got his footing in. Ari Aster maybe had a say in what the kind of creepy shit that could happen. I think that would be like really visually cool.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm giving Ari Aster
So,
a career
Ari
advice.
Aster, if you hear us, you know, if you're one of those 53 subscribers.
If you were smart, you would make a space horror movie. And if you're not smart, you'll make
Midsummer 2.
Midsummer or something very similar to that.
Yeah, mid-bummer.
I don't know, that's funny.